Okay, got it. All right, let's kick it off. So, welcome everybody. I am super excited to have you here, as well as my guest for today, Debbie Hoffman. Woo! She is the queen of sales and follow up. Um, and Debbie really is a heart centered sales and follow up expert. She is a speaker and she is the founder of the Power Up Your Follow Up. She works with, which is a networking group that she has online, which is fantastic. She works with relationship driven entrepreneurs, coaches, and network marketers who are letting potential clients and income slip through the cracks because they don't have a reliable follow up system in place. Her proven step-by-step formula supports them to have more ideal clients saying yes to working with them. And after 20 years on Wall Street as a managing director with over 25 billion, that's billion with a B, in sales, Debbie took her organizational skills and an extraordinary ability to connect with people and created multiple six-figure businesses. In addition, Debbie has tremendous success as a network marketer, having built an international team of several thousand consultants. She's also a best-selling author and has a book highlighting her proven follow-up system due out in 2022. Can't wait for that. Her mission is to support entrepreneurs to share their gifts and get their message out in a big way so they can create the impact they're here to make. So Debbie, thank you for being here today. I'm so super excited, as I said in the beginning. And I know I want to kick this off. You have something free you want to offer everybody.
Well, we're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff today, but I want to just, in case anyone has to drop off early, and I wanted to welcome Michael. He came on just as we were getting things on the road. So welcome, Michael. And please put in the chat what your biggest challenge with follow-up and sales is and what inspired you to show up today and where you're from. Just love to know those three things. So I want to make sure, just for anyone who needs to leave early, that I have something super special for you. So Rob mentioned I host networking events every month. And so I have a gift that combines 3 templates. It's authentic connections to connect, serve, and sell from the heart. So these are scenarios that we as entrepreneurs deal with all the time that get people stuck and they don't know what to say. And so I have these 3 scripts that normally I just share with my clients, but I wanted to make them available to all of you. And then you need people to follow up with, right? And so at my networking event, which I host on the 3rd Wednesday of each month, you can come as my guest for 6 events. So 6 months, you can join us at my Power Up Your Networking event. And I bring heart-centered entrepreneurs together from all over the world. People love it. They're making great connections. They're getting clients. They're collaborating with each other. They're getting speaking gigs. It's just been like a love fest. So you get these 3 scripts plus the networking event. And Rob just put the gift link in there. So please copy and paste that and go on and do it right now, just so you don't forget. And then the networking events are the 3rd Wednesday. So the next one is the 3rd Wednesday in October. I think it's the 15th. I forget the date. And but they're 6 consecutive. So there's no way technologically that you can choose which ones you come to. So just know, put it in your calendar for the next 6 months, and then you can join us. So I'm super excited to get to know all of you better and have you network with us.
Awesome. And I just want to check in with you, Debbie. Does this sound better to you? You said you were having a little issue with my audio. I switched microphones while you were chatting.
So much better. Yeah, it was a little raspy or something. It was weird, but
fantastic.
This is so much better. Yeah.
That's why we have backups for everything in the world, right? Awesome. Great. So grab that link. And I really want to kick this off and get to the meat of this because I'm so excited for all the stuff that you're going to be sharing with us today. So let's kick it off. And I really want to know what inspired you to start your business. I mean, you know, when you say follow up, most people just have this negative reaction like, oh my gosh, that's a scary, hard thing. And you have a whole business surrounding it's built on that. So how did you get to where you are now and, you know, the kind of stuff that you're doing in the world?
Well, I worked on Wall Street and was super successful there. And when I decided to leave and come home and be a mom and be with my family, I had launched I was already doing a health and wellness business, so I kept going with that. But what happened was during that time, my husband's the real estate market crashed, and my husband was a high-end custom home builder. So we lost everything. We lost all of our properties. We lost our home. We were forced to file bankruptcy. It was disastrous. It was the lowest time in my life. And threw me into a super deep depression. But what was happening during that time is I continued to go network because I needed to keep afloat, right? But I was coming across so salesy and pushy and aggressive, just like I did on Wall Street. But there it worked, and it was part of the deal. And it was people were accustomed to that, but in the entrepreneurial world, it wasn't working. And I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. And one day I had this aha moment that, oh my God, I'm so attached to my agenda. I'm coming on too pushy and salesy. I'm making it all about trying to sell and get clients. And I need to show up in service and see how I can support people and see how I can help them and just show up for them. And when I did that, when I had that mindset shift, Rob, everything changed. And I launched my coaching business and went from 0 to 6 figures in 14 months, following a heart-centered, authentic, showing up in service philosophy. And so I realized that most people, excuse my French, suck at follow-up and sales. It's just not something that people learn. It's not something that they do naturally. It just happens to be my genius. I can do this in my sleep, but it's not for most people. And so let me just back up for a sec. I came this close to getting a job and selling out on my dream of being an entrepreneur because we were so desperate. And that would have robbed me of my happiness and my spirit and all that. And so the reason I'm so passionate about this is because people don't do this naturally. It doesn't come to them naturally. And I don't want anyone to ever have to sell out on their dream and go back to a job unless they want to, right? And so my whole mission is to help my clients share their gifts and get their message out in a big way. So like you said, that they can make the impact they're here to make. And if you don't have a follow-up and sales system in place, you could have the best product, the best programs, the best services, packages, whatever it is you offer. But if nobody knows about it, you're going to be the best kept secret. So this is the piece that can make or break one's business. And that's why I'm so passionate about it.
That is amazing. And I want to just highlight something you said about coming from a place of service, because I think that's an issue a lot of people have when it comes to marketing their business or doing sales, is they think it's about, pushing and shoving and arm twisting. And really it's about offering something that a client can really use and adding value to their lives. I teach that with people. I talk about emails. And so it's really great to hear you say that as part of the sales process, that it's the exact place that you should be coming from as well, too. So I want to hear more. Why are you so passionate about helping, entrepreneurs with their follow-up? You mentioned it's difficult, but, I want to hear more about that, your philosophy on that.
Well, I see the reason, to take it even deeper, I see so many entrepreneurs going about things all wrong, and they're frustrated. They're not getting the results they want. But all of us have those things that we don't know, right? They're just not even on our radar screen. And so with just like, I always think of, remember the old fashioned radios that had a dial, like had the dial, remember those from, if you're old enough?
Yes.
Well, if you got just a teeny bit off, it would be super staticky, like a lot of noise, like horrible noise. So it just takes a little tweak of the dial to get a clear signal. And that's what I see going on with people in their businesses. What I teach is not rocket science. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's not complicated. It's a simple process. You just need to know what to do. And so when people follow a process in their business, they just start seeing better results. There's more ease and grace. There's not as much pushing. Like my husband, he's a sports guy. He always talks about having the game come to you, right? It's just a more feminine approach. It's like not going out pushing. And especially us women, we push, we drive, it's just not good, right? So if you have a process in place, you're going to be more confident. You're going to, that energetically, people will pick up on that. You'll become more of a magnet, and the whole process will become easier. So I just want to make it easier for people so they don't struggle with this, and that they're not afraid of doing it. Like you said, it's that thing, follow up and sales, like, right? It's that thing that people like don't want to do, but it's the only way for you to make the difference you're here to make.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's the completing the package. It's not just putting out into the world what we do that's good. It's then finding the way to offer to people, and then going back and saying, well, this person who said they were interested at one point, can I help them at this point? Do I have something that would help them? And going back to them at a time that's maybe better. So that's, again, follow up is so important, and that is a key to that.
One
So,
other quick thing is
oh
what I
yeah,
hear from so many people is when they're actually delivering their service to their clients, they're brilliant. Like they just know, like they know, like they know that they're so good at what they do. But it's getting people to that point. Like it's even getting to them to the point where you're having the enrollment conversation with them. And so many people just struggle with making that invitation for the person to work with them. Right. So it's just all that stuff that has to happen for that client to be with you so that you can serve them. That's where everybody gets tripped up. Right. So that's why I'm so passionate. I want to help them have more people sitting down working with them and so that they can benefit from the amazing work that they do.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and we started tipping on this about how this is a struggle for people, but what are the biggest challenges that you see most entrepreneurs face? Like, what are the biggest things that you see them struggling with when it comes to this whole follow-up process?
So there are lots of challenges, Rob, but I've kind of boiled them down to four key areas. And for those of you who took the quiz, you'll see that there's a parallel there. So there's a method to my madness. So the first area that I see people struggle with is that people tell me that they wing it a lot in their business. They're not prepared. They're not prepared before they network. They're not prepared before they get on with a potential client. They're not prepared before they get on with a potential partner for a meeting. Like they're just winging it a lot. So that's the first one. The second one is people tell me over and over and over again that they don't have, we were just talking about, they don't have a system in place. They don't have a process. So when they do meet people at a networking event or wherever they meet people, they don't know what the heck to do. Like, when should they follow up? How often? Like, they just don't have a process in place. They don't have systems to keep track of all their people that they're meeting. The third area, which you kind of touched on, is the limiting beliefs and the fears and the stories that people make up about follow-up and sales that stop them. The limiting beliefs are huge, especially when it comes to sales, right? If any of this is relating to any of you, please just put in the chat, like I can relate or just anything. And again, keep putting questions in so that we'll make sure to answer them as we go through. I don't want you to forget your questions. So just type them in. We'll either answer them as we go or at the end. We'll just see how it goes. And then the fourth area, and this one just kills me, is that most entrepreneurs are not consistently asking their clients for referrals. It's like not even on their radar screen. And they're missing, like they're sitting on a gold mine and they don't know it. So yeah, so those are the key issues I see or I hear over and over and over again.
There is a lot in there. There's a lot in there, and you've touched on some of my nerves too about my business.
Oh, I'm
That's a side
sorry.
step conversation, but that's good. But I want to unpack some of those challenges and go a little deeper on some of them. So let's talk about being prepared, right? Because to me, getting ready to go to a networking event is okay. I got my business cards, I got my little spiel ready to go. So how do we be prepared to face these things? What should we be doing?
Okay, so there's lots of parts of our business where we need to be prepared. But like you just mentioned, I'm going to focus on preparing for networking. And a lot of us still are networking online, but some networking events are opening up in person. So what I'm going to share pertains to both. So what I find the biggest issue is that people show up at these events, they haven't kind of prepared in advance what they're going to say about what they do, like when people ask what they do. So what happens is they end up hosing people down with a lot of information. Has that ever happened to any of you guys, that you got hosed down at a networking event? Like, if you want to raise your hand. Oh, and Michael said number 4 is a very important topic. Yes, Michael, it is a very important topic. Oh, you're from New York City. I'm from Long Island. Yes, yes, I love New Yorkers. You can take the girl out of New York, but you can't take the New York out of the girl, right? So, but I'm in California now. Okay, what did you ask me? Oh, networking, preparing for networking.
Yeah.
So they host people down with too much information, and then it's repelling, right? Like, we hate when that happens. It's like get me out of here. Right? This happened to me pre-COVID. I asked this guy at this 3-day event what he does, and 5 minutes later, I was still there. And it's like, please, can you just stop? And then finally he asked me what I did, but I had already checked out, like I was gone. Anyway, so we want to be prepared with what we're going to say so it actually gets people to lean in wanting to know more. And what I find is people think they have to tell the person everything because they're only going to have that one opportunity, and they want to make sure that they tell them enough so that they get interested and want to know more. Like that's actually the opposite of what I teach. You want to share as little as possible, but make it compelling so that they actually say, tell me more, or how do you do that, right? That's the question we're striving to get, right? You're
Yeah.
smiling, so
I,
what's going on?
I'm smiling because I used to run a networking group in Manhattan, and I could always tell when we had new people come or visit, and they would get up and do a spiel, and we timed people, and you could see, you could look around the room, and everyone be like, I have no idea what this person is talking about or what they do, and you could tell. So I advocated for that too. It's like, no one cares what your name is when you first meet them at a networking event. They're not going to remember, but they want to identify with where do you fit in my world? Like, can I help you? Would you be a client? Do I have a referral for you? Like those kinds of things that are important.
Right.
So,
They don't care about your name or the name of your company. Like, how many people do you hear say, hi, I'm Rob Fortier with Rob Fortier Incorporated? Like, who gives a crap? Like, who cares about the name of your company?
yeah,
Unless it shares what you do. Like the name of my company is Power Up Your Follow-Up. So I do share it because it provides value, because people right away will go, oh, because they get it right away. Right. So if the name of your company clearly identifies what you do, then definitely share it.
yeah, yeah. That's a very good point too. And as you said, mine does not. You'd be like, who's this Rob 48 character? I don't know him yet. I don't even know if I want to talk to him or like him, let alone do any business with him. So it's a really good point. Um, so you mentioned about limiting beliefs. So, what's really stopping people from following up? What's really getting in I know like that fear comes into play a little bit, I think, but I really want to hear your take on what's the obstacle with following up for people
Yeah.
that you've encountered.
So fear of rejection is a big thing for a lot of people because they feel like they're being personally rejected, and you're not, unless you've done a really crappy job of taking care of that person, and following up with them. But normal, the biggest limiting belief that I hear like over and over and over again is that people are afraid of being salesy or pushy. They don't know how to follow up. Like they equate sales and follow up with being salesy and pushy. And so they don't follow up. They don't pick up the phone. And what I want to help you all with today, if that's you, I'd love you to put in the chat if that comes up for you, the salesy pushy thing. Just say, yes to that, salesy pushy. I'm just curious. So I'd love to help you all have a mindset shift today. Yeah, Roberta says yes. Anybody else, please, if you can relate to that. So I want to help you to have a mindset shift today. What if when you followed up with somebody, like we were talking about earlier, you were letting them know you were showing up in service to them and that you really cared about them? Like that would create a very different experience of following up, wouldn't it? Right? So there is a way to follow up that feels compelling and that's building connection versus being salesy and repelling. And so if you call people, again, showing up in service, seeing how you can help them, letting go of your agenda, letting go of your attachment to results, seeing how you can collaborate, like reaching out if they're a fellow entrepreneur to see how you can support them. Like, what do they have happening in their business that you could support them with? Then it's going to be a whole different experience. When I follow up with people, Rob, they always thank me. They're so grateful and appreciative because nobody's following up with anybody anymore. The research shows, can I share some statistics real
Oh,
quick?
please. Yeah.
This is amazing. Research shows that 48% of the people you'll meet networking won't ever follow up with anybody. Like almost half of the people who go out network don't do anything afterwards. And they're going from event to event and like they're not following up. So like, why bother? So, and research also shows that it takes 5 contacts minimum, 5 reach outs before the average person will say yes to doing business with you. But guess what? Only 8% of us make that 5th contact. So we're all stopping
Wow.
short. And some only make 1 contact, some make 2, but very few get to that. Only 8% get to that 5th contact. And of course, that's where 80% of the business is happening, right? And so my commitment to my clients is to help all of them become one of those 8%ers. So if you're following up and you're calling, because I'm an old-fashioned girl, I believe you want to pick up the phone because nobody is doing that these days. And when you do, they're going to think, wow, this person really cares about me. She or he is really serious about what they're offering, they're really passionate about what they do, like they can hear your excitement in your voice, they're going to respond. But the emails are getting lost these days. They're just getting lost. Michael said, yes, definitely a point I can relate to. Okay, great. And then I definitely stopped short looking to change that. Okay.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
mean, I just
Sarah.
that whole statistic of if you make it to the 8%, that you're going way above and doing way better than so many people with business. I
Yeah,
mean, and that's to go from 1 or 2 to 5. That is a giant drop off of
it's
people who fail, basically.
exactly. You're absolutely right. You're
Um,
absolutely right.
you mentioned that you're an old-fashioned girl, and I'm a little old-fashioned myself too because I worked in the greeting card industry for so many years. So,
Oh,
in addition to phone calls and emails and things, how do you feel about using the written word, like sending cards and notes as part of the follow-up process too?
oh, I nothing is better, especially in this day and age with people being so isolated. Nothing is better than getting a handwritten note or the online, like send out cards, and there are other companies like that. That's great too, but like nothing beats a hand addressed, handwritten card.
Mhm.
Because just think of when you receive them, if you ever do, like, how does it make you feel? Like, it makes you feel so good that somebody took the time to do that, right? Like, for instance, I have a friend who lost her husband years ago, died, heart attack, suddenly skiing, 3 young kids. She was an alcoholic, like it was a mess. And she got her life together. She remarried, and she just got her PhD in psychiatric nursing.
Oh wow.
And she just got her first job. And I was so proud of her. And I sent her a card just acknowledging her. And she sent me this message saying, thank you so much. I know how much time it took for you to do that. And it meant so much to me. Like, I could have told her that, which I did verbally, but I sent her a note. I wrote a card. I got my husband made these beautiful cards of San Francisco with all these beautiful photographs. I've got boxes of them. And so I sent her one of those. So anyway, yes, in business, especially, such a great thing to send cards.
Makes it cuts right through. There's a couple questions in the chat that while we're on this topic, I don't know if you want to address those. There's one from Bill asks if people still answered the phone.
Okay, so they don't answer a lot, to be honest. Bill, it's a great question. But that doesn't stop me because I want them to hear my voice. I want them to hear my energy and my passion and my excitement. Do they call back? Yes. But what I do that really gets the best response is after I leave a message, I also text immediately and just say, hey, I just left you a message. Sorry, I missed you. And then what I was calling about. And that I get, excuse me, like 95+% response to. So yes, keep calling, even if they don't pick up. It makes all the difference in the world.
Thanks.
Let's see, was there another question?
Yeah, Michael asked a question. He says, I think I need some assistance of what those 5 touch points need to be. So can you talk about what those different kinds of things are that, want to follow up?
Great question, Michael. So it's different for each person you're following up with. So it's really important to find out. Well, you'll see where they respond. So my kind of sequence is I call first. I then leave a text message. I'll email, because some people prefer email. I was just on the phone with one of my JV partners, and I asked her what's the best way to be in communication with her. And she said email or Facebook Messenger because her cell phone doesn't work well at home. So calling her doesn't work. So you either want to ask when you first meet somebody, or you want to just see where they respond first. So you can call, then you can text, then you can email, and then reach out on social media. And when you meet people, ask them, where do they hang out? Because a lot of people, which is surprising, are not on LinkedIn. I think they should be, but they're not. So if they're not there, you don't want to reach out to connect with them because they won't see it. So you'll reach out through Facebook Messenger. But it has to be over time. You want to just keep and space it out so that you're not like calling or following up too much in too short a period of time, because that will come across as being aggressive. Great question.
Yeah. And Connie has a great one too. How do you know when to take no for an answer and when to keep reaching out? Are you changing the information every time you reach out? I used to say you keep calling them until they tell you to stop, but maybe you have a more eloquent answer than that.
Well, actually, that is true, but she's got 2 questions here. So
Yeah.
these are great. You guys are asking such good
These are
questions.
great questions. Yeah.
Such good questions. So thank you for being so engaged, because you're going to get so much more out of it that you're asking these questions. So when someone says no, what you want to know is it like a no forever, or is it just like the timing isn't right and it's a no right now? So ask that. But if somebody says no, it's no. And you'll be pushy and salesy if you keep following up with them, right? So just ask if it's for, just no right now, or is it more about the timing? And if they said, I am interested, it's just not right now, then you can ask when would be a good time for you to reach out. Don't tell them. This is a big thing that people, this is where the pushy salesy thing comes in, that you're just telling people what you want to do. You want to always be asking them what they want you to do. So just say, when would be a good time for me to reach back out? Or would you like me to reach back out to you? When it would be a better time, and when would that be? All right, so that's the answer to the first question. Are you changing the information every time you reach out? So my whole philosophy is always providing value to people when you're following up. Connie, if you can come on screen, I'd love you all to come on screen if you can, so I can see you, especially when you're asking questions. If you're in a place and you're comfortable, would love to see you. I'm an extrovert and I love to see people and connect, but if you can't, no worries. So always be providing value to people. So you don't want to just leave messages over and over again. Oh, I'm just calling to follow up. Like, that's so boring. So leave some, remind them what you talked about, remind them of the conversation you had, remind them if it's a potential client, remind them what they were struggling with. And if you just helped someone that had a similar issue, that would be a value added message. Okay. Oh, there she is. Oh, no, that's Carolyn. Okay. Hi, Carolyn. So yes, always leave value. You can leave statistics or something that's going on in the industry or some new news. Like, there's all different ways to provide value. So always change. Yes, always leave a different message. Great question.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Awesome. And if you've got more questions, keep typing them into the box and we'll make sure we get to those. So something else you mentioned I want to circle back to is about being organized and having systems in place. Because, I went to school for theater, I've studied improv, so I am of the school of winging it a lot of times, which I know is not a great way to do it. And I'm sure you'll chastise me after this interview today. But can you talk more about like what kind of systems people should have, or give us a picture of what that looks like?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm not going to chastise you. I love you.
Okay.
So
Okay, good. Thank you.
we all, like I said, most people don't know how to do this. It's just never been taught to us. Like, we don't go to sales and follow-up school, right? It just doesn't happen. So when I talk about systems, I'm talking about two different things. One is the technology, right? We have to have, or if we want to be able to keep track of people and not have people slip through the cracks, it's really important to have a system in place that's on your computer. When I say system, I don't mean an Excel spreadsheet, and I don't mean a notepad with names and phone numbers of people. I'm talking about what's called a CRM, a customer relationship management system. And it's the software that helps you keep track of all your contacts, where you can store notes, where you can set reminders for the next step. And that's how people don't slip through the cracks, because you're constantly setting reminders that pop up to tell you when the next step is. I followed up with some people for 4 years, and this one woman became a client and was so grateful that I followed up with her, and she joined my mastery program at the perfect time for her. Like, it was just perfect. And she really appreciated and thanked me for following up with her. So it's really critical. I'd love you to put in the chat, all of you, if you have a CRM, just say yes CRM or no CRM. And if you have one, if you're not using it consistently, like, that's not going to benefit you either. So that's the first step, because the more people you're following up with, the harder it is to keep track of all these people in your head. Zara's not using it consistently. Connie's not. Carolyn is. Yes, good, Carolyn. Most of the time, most people are not using a CRM. It's just not what people use, not what people think about. And so the CRM is going to help you store templates, so that when you send, like, we all send out similar emails, like, over and over and over again. And if you're starting from scratch each time, you're wasting so much time. So you can store templates in there and then just tweak it for to personalize it. So the CRM is the first step. But then you can have the best CRM in the world that, like, does everything for you. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what you're going to say, and you don't know how often to follow up, it's not going to benefit you that much. So that's where I come in. So I work with my clients on the scripting, and I'm not into robotic scripting. Like, it's just having a roadmap to, to keep you on track, and then you personalize it for your own, personality. So it's, that it feels and sounds authentic. You just take people's scripts that are in their language and make them yours. Like, that just doesn't work. So when I say scripts, a lot of people go, oh, I don't believe in scripts, but I totally believe in them when you personalize them and make it natural to you. Okay. Just lost track of what I was talking about.
We were just about systems, like we were talking, moving to CRMs,
Scripts.
and if you don't use it in scripts,
it's knowing what to do and what to say. Okay, I was like, where am I? Yes, it happens. It's called a junior moment. I call them junior moments, not senior moments. So you need to know what to say, and then how often to follow up, and what methods of communication that we were just talking about. So it's a process, so that when you go to a networking event, you know what you're going to do next. When you have an enrollment conversation with a potential client and they don't make a decision on the spot, what's the process? Like, it's knowing what to do at each step of the way. And so that's having systems in place is really key. And most people don't. They're just kind of all over the place. And they're telling me potential clients and income are slipping through the cracks.
Because you can't remember all of these things. You just can't possibly do it. It's not, we don't have that capacity to remember all of these details. And I think too, about follow-up too, in order to make it not a generic thing, you really need to get into the details about people. Like, when you start interacting with them, you start learning about, where do they live and what are they interested in? And, do they have kids, and what do they do when they're not working, and those kinds of things, because, as you mentioned earlier, it's about relationship building. It's not just like, hey, here, buy this thing, I'll buy this thing. We want to get to know these people. We want them to get to know us too, as well.
Something just came to mind as you were sharing that when you were talking about getting to know people, I've had miracles happen when somebody would say something and I got curious and asked a question and dove deeper, if that's the right word. I went deeper with them. And by asking that question, I found out some commonality, something that like blew us both away. And so when I was talking about earlier about being prepared, and now about systems, it's being prepared, but also being spontaneous on the spot to, what questions are you going to ask? Tell me more about that, or, just asking questions to help them, share something that could possibly create commonality. And after that, recently it was with a potential client. I found out she grew up like right near where I grew up, like we're from the same part of Long Island. And we're like soul sisters, like now she brings it up. Like, it's just but I asked some questions. I got curious because she lives in California now, but somehow she mentioned something. I said, oh, where are you from originally? And it created this trust immediately between us. Like, it was magical. So having systems and being prepared are really critical.
Yeah. And that trust factor too is critical too, as well. Absolutely. The other thing you had mentioned too was about people having a referral system or asking for referrals. Because right now it's like, okay, I landed them as a client. Now I'm going to ask them to do even more. But, I know you're going to have a lot to say about this, but they're actually your best advertisement at that point, because they're happy with the work they've done, I would imagine, right?
Yes. I love what you just said, because that's the reason why most people don't ask, is they say, I've already had them, ask them to be a client, and they've invested in me, and now I'm going to ask them for a referral. Like, that's being too aggressive. That's being too pushy. And the other reason that comes up is people feel that if they ask, they're coming across too desperate, too needy. Okay. So I'd love you to put in the chat if you consistently ask your clients for referrals, like all your clients, just put in a yes or no for referrals. So like you said, your clients are your best advocates. And if you're not consistently asking for clients, you're leaving so much on the table. Yeah, we got 2 no's. I'd love everyone else to share. Thank you guys and gals for sharing. So research shows that when someone refers a person to you, your chances of them saying yes to working with you increases by 300%. That's huge, right?
Wow, that is huge. Yeah.
So again, mindset shift here for everyone. Please write this stuff down. I'm starting to ask for referrals, but I'm also not concerned too much about being desperate. Good, because you're not. So this is going to really help all of you. I'm glad you're back, Roberta. So our clients, if we've provided great service or a great product to our clients, it makes them feel so good to refer us to someone else who also hopefully will get that same great level of service as well. It makes them feel really good to do that. We just make up these stories like we just were talking about. People make up stories all the time and they're not true because they've already experienced the benefits of working with you personally. Like I was just talking to a client and I'm launching my Power Up Your Sales program next week. And one of my clients, I said to her, we were talking about affiliate arrangements and stuff like that. And I said, if you want, to promote my program, you can get a really nice affiliate fee and a referral fee and all this. And she said, why wouldn't I? Like, I'm getting such great results working with you, right? People want to refer to us. We just need to know how to ask them to refer to us, when to ask, like when's the right timing to ask, and how to actually give you the referrals. So how many of you had people come to you and say, oh, I refer people to you all the time. I'm always talking about you. And you never hear from anybody. Put in the chat if you do that. Okay, if that happens to you. Because people were saying that to me. And I was like, thank you so much, but I'm not hearing from anybody. Michael has a thumbs up. Yeah, it happens all the time. Right? So we need to train them how to give us the referrals, and the best way is through an email introduction to ask them if they would do that so that they step out of the picture and you can take over. And then this is key. We want to train our clients and referral partners what to say when they're referring people to us. Like, so nobody can share better or what we do than us about what we do, right? Nobody can do it better than us. And I don't know about you, Robert, and everyone else here today, but I don't have time to sit there and figure out what to say when I'm referring somebody. I want them to send me the referral language. I keep it in a Google folder. And then when I'm ready to make an introduction, I just copy and paste what they wanted me to say. Then I add my personal, touch to it, what I feel, I acknowledge them, what I admire and appreciate about them, and then it's off. So you'll end up getting so many more referrals if you provide that referral language to people. So there's a whole referral system that I have in place that I teach my clients, and they're getting more referrals. I have a client, Jill, who does energy work and hypnotherapy, and she got $100,000 in referrals from one referral partner last year because of the referral system we put in place. Like, who wouldn't want that, right? So it happens all the time. Roberta, I asked for referrals after I finished my speaking gigs. Fabulous. Michael said, how much do you ask your clients about a specific referral? How much do you ask your clients? I'm not sure what you're asking. How much do you ask your clients about a specific referral?
I do a lot with the corporate market, and I will do a research. Like, I have a banking client, like a farming banking client, and they have like 5 different regions, and there's event planners in the 5 different regions. So I do Texas in the Southwest. That's my client. And I know she partners with Florida in the Southeast. So I'm saying, I know so-and-so, I've done research on this person. I know you partner with her. Do you think that would be a good referral? What do I need to do to break the ice with that person? So I do a little bit of research. I think it's easier probably in the corporate market than sort of a smaller business to business. So I'm just trying to get like tidbits. How much can you really ask, and what should you ask if you know who you want to be referred to or introduced to?
Got it. All right. So you know someone and they know this person that you want to be introduced to. So you just ask them, like, always be asking for permission. I'd really love to be introduced to whoever it is. Would you be willing to make that introduction? Just ask, and they'll let you know if they're interested in doing that or not. So great question. Roberta, do you know any other company or group who would benefit from my talk? Yes, perfect. So get more specific when you're asking, what they're struggling with, what the benefit would be of your talk. So yes, that's a great question to ask, and just get more specific. It's just like when people ask for referrals, when they say, who do you know who you can refer to me? Like, that's just not a good referral. That's just not a great way to ask for referrals. You want to be really specific on who you're looking to be referred to. And so in your case for speaking, Roberta, um, be specific on the kind of company and what they're struggling with, or the kind of group, and why they would benefit from having you speak. So great questions. You guys are amazing.
Sometimes I feel like you're in my head, Debbie, because the whole time I'm thinking, yes, you should be telling people what problems do you solve, like when you're asking for those kinds of referrals. Here's what I help people do or accomplish or stop doing, and that makes it easier for people to make that connection to other people that they know, because they're like, oh, I don't know anybody who may need a speaker, but I know a group of people who are having this XYZ problem that you help them solve. So it's
Exactly.
a lot more automatic.
So you just reminded me of something about referrals. So do you remember those that old-fashioned Rolodex from way back in the day when we used to put people, remember that? Like that stupid little thing that spun around. So my analogy is we all have a Rolodex in our head. And when someone's asking for referral, the more specific they are, the more we'll go, oh, I know somebody, like somebody will come to mind to refer. So the more specific you are with the kind of person you're looking for and the problem that they would be having and the solution that you would be providing, the more someone is going to be able to come up with people to refer. Like, just think of when someone asks you, like, who do you know you can refer to me? Like, nobody comes to mind. Like, you just don't think. It's got to be super, super specific. So when you have a speaking, when you're asking for referrals for speaking gigs, it's the same thing. The more specific you are, Roberta, the more referrals you're going to get.
Yeah. And I love the whole idea of providing the language to people that are in your network to refer other people. That makes it so much easier for me to not have to think about, what am I going to say about, Debbie when I introduce her to, someone I know. She's already helped me. She's put those pieces together for me. So it's so much clearer. I would think you're going to get so much better results from that because you've taken the mystery out of it.
Exactly. It's a game changer for my clients. And the other thing too, is that people are going to say, they're going to be so impressed that you're providing the language to them. And then what I always say to people is, I always ask if they'd like me to send the language. I don't just assume and send it. I'm always asking for permission. But then I say, you can use that as a template if you like it, and send me your referral language back. And they'll go, yes, please send it. Thank you so much. People love to have a template so they don't have to start from scratch, right? It makes all the difference in the world. So you're going to come across really committed to helping them because you're asking them, send me your referral language so that I can support you as well. And you're all buttoned up, you're professional, and you're passionate about what you do. Like, the more that you have in place, the more systems, getting back to the systems thing, the more systems you have in place and processes, the more confident you're going to be. And then you're going to put out this in energy. Like, energy is very subtle, but very powerful. People feel energy, and you're going to become magnetic. Like, people are going to be attracted to you because you've just got it all together,
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It just makes you look like a better business owner. Even if on the inside you're like, the outside's going to look super polished and like professional. That's great.
Zara has, go on, sorry, because Zara has.
No, go ahead with the question. Yeah.
What do you recommend for incentives for referrals that translate to clients? So it depends what kind of business you're in. If you can put in the chat what you do, like for coaches, like if somebody refers somebody to me, like they're just speaking with somebody and they refer somebody and they invest, like in my Power Up Your Sales program, which is a $997 investment, I pay them 25%. If it's somebody that's going to be sending email, like a JV partner who's going to be sending emails and posting on social media, and it's a more directed effort, like it's a JV partnership, which is different, I pay 40%. So, but for my one-on-one coaching and my upper level group programs, I pay 10%. So it just really depends. Oh, accounting. So that's one-on-one work. With one-on-one work, I pay 10% because that takes a lot of time. If it's a group program, then you can pay more. But if it's you doing the accounting work, one-on-one, I think 10% is great.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, these are really good questions.
You've got such an amazing community of people, Rob. You guys rock. This is so fun. Love it.
You mentioned this at the beginning about, and some people got this in emails about the quiz that you have for people that sort of shows them where they are in the follow-up thing. I'd love to post that link in here in case people want to take it later just for informational. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll put it in here too.
Okay.
It's powerupbizquiz.com. A bunch of you did take it. Yeah, so in less than like 10 minutes, you're going to have a really clear idea of where you're doing well with your follow-up and where potential clients and income are slipping through the cracks. So it's just an assessment of where you are. It's super short. And everyone I speak to who takes it says to me, I had no idea about all the stuff I wasn't doing. I wasn't even thinking about, like, again, there's all this stuff that's not on our radar screen that we don't know that we don't know. So it's a real eye opener, and you'll see where you are in certain areas, and it will help you to focus, give you directions like, oh, like if you rated yourself really low with referrals, which most people have, who took the quiz already for this call, you'll want to start focusing on that, right? And you want to get support from me or someone else, but somebody to help you to create that system and that process. So it's really a fabulous tool, and it's an eye opener.
Awesome. So in addition to like that quiz and stuff, we're getting close to the top of the hour, so I want to make sure that we are respectful of everybody's time. But I would really love it. You've given us so many like tips and things to think about, but what is something that you'd say, if I get off this call, what's something I can implement right away to really change the game or change the direction, I would say, of my follow-up process, or even just to start having a follow-up process? What should I do first?
Okay, so one thing to do first is, if you don't have a CRM, get one. And I'll put a link in here. I have vetted some resources so that you don't have to spend days looking at different systems. There are thousands of systems out there, and there's a few in there that I vetted that are super simple. There's some that are more complicated, but that's the first step. The second thing is, if you're not networking to grow your business, start networking, because I built several six-figure businesses from networking. It is such a great way, networking and speaking, to grow my business. So find networking events. And then when you schedule that networking event, this is the tip, because so many people tell me that they're going to all these networking events, but nothing's coming from them because they're not following up with anybody, because they have no time to do it, because they didn't put it in their calendar. So as soon as you book an event and you put it in your calendar, no matter what kind of an event, a seminar, a workshop, a networking event, you're going to be meeting people there that you're going to need to follow up with. So just schedule a block of time each day for the next few days to follow up with people. Because if you don't do that, it's not going to happen. And then all that time, energy, effort, and money that you invested will go down the drain. So those are a couple things people can do right away.
And just to clarify, a stack of business cards on the corner of your desk is not a follow-up system.
Right.
It could be, but probably isn't really a good one you should be using.
Exactly.
That's one good thing to get out of the pandemic, is I don't have to have all those business cards anymore. We'll just do it virtually and can take notes better. So I know, Debbie, that you have a masterclass that you're teaching that's coming up, and where you're going to dive into more of these things. And I would love for you to tell us a bit more about what's going to happen in this free class that you're doing.
Awesome. I'd love to. I'm really excited about this. On Monday and Tuesday of next week, I'm offering 2 different days and times. I'm going to be sharing the 3 crucial mistakes that cost entrepreneurs, clients, and money, and how you can avoid them. So I'm going to be sharing tips on what you can do to avoid making those mistakes. And I'll be going deeper into a lot of the topics that we talked about today. So you're going to walk away with things that you can implement immediately to grow your business. And by the way, while I'm sharing about this, I'd love you to put in the chat your takeaways, your ahas, your insights from today's conversation. I always love to know what people are learning, and anything that you're going to implement that you hadn't been doing before.
And I will pop the link to your class into the chat as well, too, if people want to take advantage of that.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the masterclass, I'm going to be sharing a lot of content, and there's going to be lots of time for Q&A. So you'll be coming on mic and asking questions. We're going to be having, conversations and laser coaching. It's hard to do that during an interview because I wanted to get all this information out, but we figured out how to answer questions through chat. But during the call, I'm going to be answering questions. You'll be coming on the mic, so to speak, and asking your question. So you're going to walk away with a bigger understanding of systems and how to be prepared for networking, what intention to go to networking events with, because most people are going to find clients and that's not working really well. I'll be going deeper into these limiting beliefs and things that you can do about that. And then the referrals. I'll be talking a lot more about the referral system as well. And so, and then I'm going to be sharing something special at the end as well as a gift. So yeah, please come join us, share it with your friends. It's super fun. You'll be meeting some great entrepreneurs. And these are great places to meet other entrepreneurs, because as they share and ask questions, you'll go, oh, I like that person. I need to get to know them. And so it's a great way to meet people. And I give so much value during these during these master classes. So I would love to have you guys join me.
And it's also a great way too to see the way other people talk about their businesses and how that resonates with you, whether you understood it or you were like, what? And then if they get on to like ask questions to clarify things, you can learn more about them. But I always think the more people you can watch do stuff, it's inspire you to do it, use them as an example, or to say, I didn't really like that, so how can I do that better with my own business too? So those are great things. Like these masterclass are great opportunities for that too.
Yeah, so it's going to be, I'll stay on for 2 hours. If people are still asking questions, I'll be there. I'll be sharing the content probably within the first hour and 15, and then there'll be lots and lots of time for Q&A. So takeaways from Bill: phone message plus text. Roberta: keep calling and leave a message of value. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would love
Good
to
stuff.
know takeaways from the rest of you if you want to post.
And if you've got any more questions too, please do feel free to pop those in the chat too as well.
Yes, please, please, please do.
So while people are coming up with last things, I really want to thank you for taking time out to be here today. This is the first time I've done one of these interviews in this style, with doing it on Zoom and broadcasting it. So thank you for being the first person to step up and say, yes, I want to do this. But I really appreciate all the value you've given, because this is really such an important topic. And I know some the people on this call are using CRMs. I know they are doing some of these steps, but to hear you talk about this as a process and more things that we can even put into place that are not complicated, just making phone calls, making sure you follow up multiple times, go past the two, so many great nuggets of information in this. And I'm really excited for your masterclass that's coming up too as well. I think that's going to be a really valuable information and learning session for so many people. So thank you for being here today and for sharing all that.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And it looks like we have one more question here. Michael, I think I missed something about referral language. Do you ask clients to provide you with their language, or do you provide the client with language? Okay, so if you want them to refer people to you, you want to give them the language of what you want them to say when they're making that email introduction or when they're talking to someone. Of course, when they're talking to somebody, they're not going to say the exact thing that you've given them, but it just gives them an idea. Again, like a roadmap, it gives them an idea of what to say. So you want to give them your referral language. Now, if they are another entrepreneur and you want to refer people to them, then yes, get their referral language as well. Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
And Carolyn's takeaway was the method of approach. And what specifically, Carolyn, about the method of approach was your takeaway? What part of that?
Well, I'm in the process of approaching people that I have already worked with about doing sessions, or I created videos to share with the residents because we're not going into the residents, the homes and that anymore. So I'm hoping to have a backup plan that they can use to keep people. It's a fun fitness program, so it's all about that. So, and reminding them that I have worked with them, and just asking for their feedback and how they feel this would work. And for me, the most important question is, what format do I need to be working with?
Exactly.
Or their home in specifically.
Exactly.
So this helped get all those juices going while I was listening.
Awesome. So
Great.
happy to hear that. That's fabulous. I love what you're doing. It's just, yeah, laughter creates endorphins in the body, and nothing is better than laughing, right? And gratitude. Gratitude is produces the highest vibration in your body, even more than love does. So being grateful, having a gratitude practice, and laughing a lot are two really important things. So I love what you're doing. Way to go, Carolyn. Really,
That's awesome.
really awesome work that you're doing in the world. Any
Um,
other last questions and anything else that anybody has before we go?
And I want to ask you, Debbie, if people want to connect with you after this, like if they hang up in like 15 minutes, they're like, oh my gosh, I really wish I'd asked that. Where's the best place to connect with you?
Okay, so that you can either email me at debbie@powerupyourfollowup.com, or Rob, which group, where do you have this going live? Because they can also post questions on
This is
Facebook.
going to my Rob Fortier Content Marketing Coach page. So if
Okay.
you search for that Rob Fortier Content Marketing Coach, you'll find the page, and this video will be posted, and you can post questions there too as well.
And for those of you who are listening to this replay, just post your questions there and tag me, and I will come in and respond. Okay, so we can have a conversation there. So you can either email me at debbie@powerupyourfollowup.com or go to Rob's page, and I'll put my email here as well. And the best thing, if you still have questions, come to the masterclass. Come to the masterclass. Yeah, I know, Roberta and Carolyn, that's pretty amazing that you both have that message. Like, that is just crazy. It's like, what? I love it.
That is great.
Yeah. So come to the masterclass. We'll have lots of time for Q&A, lots of time for laser coaching. So
Fantastic.
that's the best step. If you know that sales and follow-up is an issue for you, I would love to be able to support you. Come on the masterclass. I have a program starting in October, and it's a 7-week program, and it's going to be a great place to get support and to be part of a community and get these processes in place. So would love to see you at the masterclass.
Fantastic. Deb, again, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you here. And thanks to all of you for joining us. I know there's lots of things you could be doing with your day, and depending on what time zone, it's the middle of your day, or you just maybe woke up. So thank you for being here and participating. This has been a lot of fun for me. I look forward to doing more of these. And I look forward to seeing all of you hopefully very soon. And please, please, please join Deb for her masterclass, because there is nobody that teaches this better than she does. So I hope that you take advantage of her offer.
Thank you again so much.
All right.
This was so fun. You're welcome, Roberta. Thank you all for playing full out and participating. It's so much more fun when people ask questions.
Yeah.
So I love that you all had these fabulous questions, and would love to see you on Monday or Tuesday. So hope to see you then, and have a great day, everybody. Be well, stay safe, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now. Bye-bye.